Joining me now to talk about that and other things is AJ Swinson. She is the chief of staff of the New Journey PAC. AJ, it's weird, right? It's not just me, it's weird.
No, I mean, it was weird before he even won the election. He multiple times, even then, slipped and called it the Harris administration. So this has been a plan that's been put in place for a long time, and we're just seeing it now come to fruition.
Okay, you do believe there was a plan all along because it looks like there has been. It looks like this was always, Joe, let's just kind of hold him up by the back of his collar as long as we can and get him in there for a year and then chuck him out the back door. So you do believe this was something they had planned early on?
I do. I know people would say that that's a conspiracy theory. You saw Nancy Pelosi suddenly talking about, oh, we need to look at this 25th Amendment. They had a feeling that they were going to make sure that Joe won. They knew that they needed someone like him who seemed to be more moderate and who could attract a wider amount of voters to win, but who they really wanted to win and the policies that they really want to enact are the policies of Kamala Harris.
Okay, will you explain the Kamala Harris love? I don't get it at all. I mean, this is a woman who's so unlikable. She free-falled in the Democrat primary, and that's with the American media slobbering all over her. Why the love? Is this an Obama connection thing?
Well, Kamala has been popular for a long time among the Democratic establishment. They've held her up as some female Obama in a way. Let's not forget how unpopular she was. Just like you said, she had to drop out of the race before California because she would have been embarrassed in her home state. So it's not the American people that love her, it's the establishment because she knows how to tap dance. She knows how to switch. She's flipped and flopped on so many issues, the death penalty, private health insurance. She's a politician through and through, and she'll do whatever it takes to get results. And that's what the Democratic Party wants.
Well, speaking of Obama, we have a bit of a shadow president deal going on here. Quote, it's long past time for those with the power to fight this epidemic of gun violence to do so. It will take time to root out the disaffection, racism, and misogyny that fuels so many of these senseless acts of violence, but we can make it harder for those with hate in their hearts to buy weapons of war. We can overcome opposition by cowardly politicians and the pressure of the gun lobby that opposes any limit on the ability of anyone to assemble an arsenal. We can and we must. Is Barack Obama still pulling some strings around here?
Without doubt. Let's not forget also, Barack Obama did not clearly want to support Joe Biden's candidacy until he had a book to promote. And so now there's clearly something in it for him. He doesn't do anything unless there's something that he will personally benefit from. And the fact that he's pushing for gun control shows that he does not understand Black history and he does not understand the importance of Americans being able to protect themselves.
Explain the Black history connection.
Well, throughout history, Black people have been some of the greatest, have needed guns the most. You know, there was a time in the South where you could get attacked randomly, and if you couldn't protect yourself, the police were not going to protect you. So Black people carried guns, they protected themselves, and the NRA and other organizations started saying, oh, we need to prevent. If you look at the KKK went around in the South and tried to steal freedmen's guns. So this has been historically an issue for African Americans, and if you truly understood the importance of Black people being able to protect themselves, you would not be supporting gun control.
Is there some kind of push, not in the country, because I generally separate this not as much by skin color as by location in this country, but so I understand the country people are generally going to have guns. If you're more rural, you're going to have guns or at least know somebody who does. But in the cities, they have these garbage anti-gun laws. And I know they're going through it right now with some high crime rates because of all this cop nonsense. Is there a push within these communities to say, hey, I would like to be allowed to defend myself too? Why is it only rich people and people in the burbs?
There definitely is. And don't allow what Lori Lightfoot and other leaders are telling you to be the truth. Black people are owning guns. And you can pass the strictest gun control that you want, but there's always going to be a market for that. In 2020, Black gun ownership was the highest I think that it's ever been, at least in recent memory. 58% growth among Black Americans when it came to buying guns. So this idea that Black people are, not don't want to protect themselves, it's ridiculous. If you understand the riots that recently happened, the last thing you want as a Black person is for the only people in your neighborhood that have a gun to protect themselves are the criminals and the cops. I mean, it's completely illogical.
AJ, how seriously should I take the Biden administration when they talk about gun control? And the reason I ask is this: I know they want it. Democrats have always wanted it. I know Obama wants it. I know Harris wants it. They've always talked. They've always done this about it. Do you think they're actually going to try to push something through now? Because it would involve, nuking the filibuster. It would involve drastic steps. But I don't know. I feel like they're trying to feel their way through it, and I think they might give it a shot.
Well, that would definitely be a political misstep. You have Democratic moderates like Manchin who would get killed back home if he supported a bill like that. It would not be politically expedient, but it's something that they're talking about. And I think they're just going through the motions. I don't think there's any, bite to their bark. But if they do this, then it will definitely provide the way for Republicans to take back House and Senate seats in 2022.
Okay, I was going to ask about that because we act like, people on the right act like we just got killed in 2020. It was all one gigantic disaster. We actually took back seats in the House. I realized the Georgia thing went to crap on us and we lost the presidency, but we took back seats in the House. Is the country moving right?
Well, there's definitely the potential there. Trump created a more diverse coalition. He brought workers, farmers, everyday Americans back into the Republican fold, and he brought Black voters. If you think about everything that happened with George Floyd, all the animus that the media was pushing, and yet Trump still got 16% of the Black male vote. If you take out the riots and the things that happened, Rasmussen would have been right. He would have gotten 30% or more of the Black vote. And that's still possible. Republicans can do this if they start doing the outreach and the coalition building that they need to do. And if you think about the states that Trump narrowly lost, there were states, I think he lost Arizona by 10,000 votes. He lost Georgia by 40,000 votes? You're saying that you can't get 10,000 African Americans to understand the importance of small government and to do outreach in a community. I think that's a failure of the Republican Party right now.
I agree. And every time I bring this up with somebody, whenever someone comes on and says Republicans are not doing outreach in the community, they're not doing outreach in the community, will you explain what that means? Because I get a lot of emails afterwards that saying, I don't understand. What does that mean? Explain what you mean by outreach.
Yeah, so the importance of a statesman is building coalitions. It doesn't necessarily mean that the president himself comes to every community, right? What it looks like is it looks like state and local leadership working together to reach everyone within their districts and to reach people outside of the districts in order to expand power. So, the Democratic Party doesn't necessarily do their own Black outreach. What they do is they give lots of money to Color of Change, to the Black Male Voter Project. They give it to outside organizations that have connections within the community and can use those connections to get out the vote. That's what New Journey PAC does. We're one of the few organizations on the right that have connections and do work with media and community outreach within the Black community. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to knock on the door yourself as the president, but you do need people out there knocking on doors, handing out literature, holding events, and educating voters on how your candidate will work best for them.
AJ Swinson, thank you so much. That was outstanding.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.